Hello and welcome to the video. Today we're gonna take a look at some gameplay that got sent to me with the new Shadow Ferrothorn in the Open Great League. So stay tuned for this one here. The player also asked me for some feedback, so let's take a look what we can give here. First off, we're going to see for the first battle Lantern, as far as I saw it, at least while editing, they started running the Ampharos, which you see on the right side, by game number 2. Not sure if they're going to change it up again. I just wanted to look when they started using the Ampharos and was basically at game 2, so I didn't really see anything about the gameplay itself. Great catch here already onto the Shadow Ball, which is kind of something decent. But what I can already say about the team is I would not go for the lead that you went for, like neither the Lantern or the Ampharos. I would actually think like Lantern is still kind of a little bit better than Ampharos, but what I would rather go for is something like a Charizard lead actually for this one, because you kind of really want to have something in the lead that can also deal with fighting type Pokemon if you have two Pokemon in the back that are weak to fighting type. But yeah, that's basically for me for the team, but let's see how this gameplay going to go here. They're an Ace rank, they're set, and here we're going to see as well that they're going to run up against a Hex variant of Frostless, which is kind of wild, but in the back it's going to be a Ferrothorn, which is going to be also a Pokemon that you can definitely destroy here quite a bit. We're gonna most likely see the Ferrothorn coming back in soon as well, or like for the first time, which is going to be a very interesting Pokemon to see. Ferrothorn, interestingly enough, which I was super surprised about, is actually better as a Shadow compared to the normal one. I was so sure that the normal one would be way better than the Shadow variant, but I can actually take a look at the side real quick as well here. What the rankings are, at least based on, okay, actually the rankings are still a little bit lower for the Shadow variant, but at least in terms of the calculations that I did afterwards, the Shadow variant was so much better than the normal one, which was kind of weird to me. But yeah, second battle we're going to see here right now, the Ampharos in the lead now instead of the Lantern there, which is kind of okay for you, of course. But yeah, again, I would rather go mostly for something like a Charizard or something like a Talonflame. I feel like this does make a little bit more sense as a lead. But also, yeah, again, like the Ferrothorn definitely has a little bit of a better play, in my opinion, as a Shadow in some certain matchups. Of course, in the general matchups, it's a little bit lower, because usually you kind of want to have like something that either does a lot of damage with a fast move or gets to charge moves very fast, and Ferrothorn does neither of it. But again, like when I looked at the calculations when this Pokemon first basically got announced, it looked way better as a Shadow variant, which I found kind of interesting against at least the current meta, because you're gonna get some better one-shots or whatever, or you do a little bit more damage against something like the Lickitung, which allows you to two-shot it now. But in general, definitely still kind of close to each other, but I feel like the Shadow one is maybe something that you want to hunt. Here we're gonna see the Sandslash. You're gonna definitely have to use another shield here. You kind of want to go for a charge move fairly soon as well. You kind of have to hope that the Ferrothorn has something in the back that you can deal with. Oh, you're actually gonna go for a swap out here, which is kind of decent, because now you're gonna get out the opponent's Gligar, and they're sadly were still able to keep their Sandslash alive. We see the power whip connecting against the opponent. We see already the damage output is kind of insane, so they're still gonna be forced to go for 2 charge moves, or is it dig enough to knock you out? We will never find out. I think a dig would have been enough. You should have went for a charge move here. Okay, like you had basically a charge move started with your Ampharos, so I would have went for a charge move here as well, either getting the shield or getting the knockout. It now depends if you can farm them down, or you're gonna go for a charge move. Can you win CMP? I think you win CMP, so I guess this play is also okay, but the opponent is actually dying through the shield, which is kind of funny. Okay, let's move on. We're going to see here the Ampharos against the Medicham in the lead. And this is something which I exactly kind of meant before. You kind of need to have something in the lead that is going to be really good against fighting type Pokemon. Something like a Charizard would help you here, because your backline is so weak against it that you cannot really deal with it at all in the back there. Like, there are also teams like this, like similar. We have something like a Superior in the back, or something like, I don't know, like Lickitung Saisop is even a little bit better, for example, compared to the Vigoroth against Pokemon like the Medicham. And for this, it's not as important to have something in the lead that is going to be able to beat those fighting type Pokemon consistently. But for this team itself, because you have a double fighting weakness now in the back because of the part steel typing of the Ferrothorn, you kind of really want to have something in the lead that can deal with those Pokemon. But yeah, again, I would recommend you to go for a different lead there, especially like you're going to be still fine against something like, I don't know, like the Lantern in the back there with your Ferrothorn, so it's going to be a little bit better. I feel like it's a little bit balanced with something like a Charizard, just a tip there. We're going to see here the the Brutal Swing coming through here. Honestly, I feel like those Dark-type moves really confuse me a lot of times. Also, I always forget the name for Payback, because, I don't know, like Payback is like such a rare move to be seen. But, yeah, I don't know, like for me, Dark-type moves are kind of weird in the game. We're going to see here the Power Whip coming through against the opponent's Gligar. This is going to get no damage on them because they're going to use a shield, and sadly they're going to knock you out beforehand, and with this, you're most likely going to lose this game because there's not a lot that you can do here with an Ampharos, and especially not with an Ampharos with 1 HP. Next opponent, we're going to have a great lead for you, and they're going to swap out into a Skeletor. You're kind of forced to stay in for a little bit. What you could do is go for one more fast move and then swap out into your Vigoroth, because the charge moves of the opponent don't really matter too much, and this is exactly what you're going to do here, so great play there. I would actually recommend you to do this as well. But yeah, you can now let the move go through. There's no way that they're running like Fire Blast or anything like this. It's going to be the Disarming Voice. Great fast move timing here by you as well. You can go for the Rock Slide, which is amazing for you. Undercharge, which you don't really have to. Like, just go for like all of them. But you actually get to another move here, which is really good for you, because now you can get the knockout, and this is basically game already. I feel like because you can realign, because you have 2 shields left, you still have the grass type coverage on your Ampharos as well, which is going to be nice. And yeah, the opponent basically forfeited at this point. They didn't really want to play against you anymore, because yeah, you have a 2 shield advantage, you have a great lead matchup, and the Trevenant here is definitely not going to be able to win the game. Would have been actually a little bit of a trickier one in general, but with like 2 shields advantage, it's definitely a little bit of an easier one. I just cut out basically the rest of the battle because I don't really want to waste your time. There was like 30 seconds still left of it, so yeah, hope you enjoy this one, that I don't really want to waste your time here. If you do, feel free to leave a like, as we're gonna see here, great lead for you, but also great for your backline actually, the Dugong, so you're gonna swap out as well. Gonna go into your Vigoroth, which is a fine play, and they're gonna go into that Talonflame. I most likely would went for the bait here, but like, it is me, I always bait, so let's see if this would have been right. Yeah, okay, yeah, the opponent actually going to use a shield here. And now we're going to see here that this player is actually going to let this move go through, which is interesting because it actually just barely doesn't get the knockout, which is great for you. You even get the extra fast move in there, which is cool. You're going to go for another Rock Slide, which is going to force the final shield of the opponent. You can align your Ampharos here against the opponent as well. Issue here is that this is not going to get the knockout, but you can sneak in another fast move, which will get the knockout. So you're going to just use a shield here most likely, because like if you wouldn't use a shield and the Bullet Seed doesn't knock them out immediately, it does like half of your health. So definitely worth a shield there. And you're gonna see a Whiscash in the back, and this is going to be amazing. Even if they want to swap out here, which they do, it does not really matter. 2 water type Pokemon against a grass type is going to not be the greatest matchup for them. Shadow Ferrothorn going to get easily this win here. Let's take a look at the next opponent. We're going to see the Ampharos against Skarmory. A very good lead for you. The opponent, interestingly enough, stays in and swaps out now into the Charger Bug. Yeah, you could have swapped out a little bit earlier into the Vigoroth here, I would imagine, because the matchup is actually not as ideal as you might think. Yes, you're going to have access to the Rock Slide here in order to hit them for super effective damage, but also the opponent is going to outspeed you usually, so it's going to be a matchup where you kind of want to swap in very fast, and he didn't do this. And with this, it's going to be a very, very more difficult matchup here, as you're going to go for the bait, which actually does not work out for you either, and you sure went straight for another charge move there most likely, but now you cannot, or you don't even commit to it. A lot of kind of small mistakes here, definitely something that you can improve on, just going for either the Rock Slide there or go straight for double Body Slam. Double Body Slam would have been what I most likely would have went for, because then you're gonna get at least the shield or even the knockout. So yeah, we're gonna be able to get the Trailblaze onto the opponent's Whiscash, which is kind of unfortunate. You should have swapped out there, by the way. But you're gonna just, I guess, take the boost. But if you swapped out, you could have avoided using a shield here, which would have been a little bit more beneficial for you, I would imagine. But now we're gonna get in the Skarmory. You force him to go for a charge move, but it's still going to be a little bit of a trickier one. Not too sure if you can win this one, but it's going to be close. You can catch the move now, which again, I would have went into my Ferrothorn against the Whiscash already, by the way. Just like keeping your shield alive would have been so much better in my opinion. But now the opponent can still go for a charge move. You should have went for a charge move here with your Ferrothorn as well, which you can at least still do here, which is kind of lucky because it was just a 1 HP there. But we will see the Thunder connecting and actually getting the knockout, so this is going to be a good game. Again, a lot of things that you can kind of improve in this gameplay. We're going to have an even better lead now. We're going to have the Shadow variant against you, and they swap out into the Lantern. You can swap out basically immediately into the Ferrothorn. Actually, like, staying in for a little bit does make a lot of sense, because they're always going to get to one charge move anyway before you, and they always die to one Power Whip now, which would have been not the case, I think, with a normal variant, but with a Shadow variant here, it's definitely going to get the knockout, and so we can now see what is coming back in. It's going to be the Skarmory. Can we see a Thunder hitting against them as well? I would imagine that this is going to do a ton of damage against the opponent. Let's see here. It is gonna get shielded. I'm so sad about this because otherwise it would be a great shot, and I always think like, this could be a really nice one. But yeah, we're gonna see here the Sky Attack coming through. You can realign, which is amazing, and you're gonna see in the back the Quagsire. Just go for the Trailblaze, and if the opponent is going to let this move go through, this is going to be amazing for you. Let's see, they decide to use a shield. What I would go for is exactly what you're gonna do here, which I think is not the right call, but it is the more fun call, basically, to just go ahead and go for another Trailblaze. In this case, because the opponent didn't go straight for their moves, this is actually going to be okay, because it can win the CMP tie, knock them out, and now you have a double boosted Ampharos, and the opponent had already enough. Next opponent coming through, great lead for you again here. Of course, this is always a little bit tricky then if you're going to get only great leads to showcase a team and like give you good feedback, because it's going to be always way easier, of course, when you win the lead and when you have a great matchup for yourself. Here you're going to be able to actually just barely get the full farm on, which is amazing for you. As in comes now the Whiscash, does not want to face the Trailblaze. You're going to be able to, I will just stay in here as well, just going to go for 2 Trailblazes. Getting both shields from the opponent is going to be amazing for you, as they gonna end up against your Ferrothorn anyway, but you decide to swap out. Like, in one hand, it is not the worst matchup ever, because, or like, in general, the worst decision ever, because you are going to not allow them to farm you down. But on the other hand, now they can hit you with Scald, which is going to do a little bit more damage in general, plus has the chance to debuff yourself, and you cannot align your Grass-type Pokemon, which is a very tricky play. So, in my opinion, it would have been definitely better for you to just stay in the Ampharos matchup, but because the opponent has 2 water types in the back anyway, Ferrothorn is going to have a field day here anyway, because he can now see that the Ferrothorn can just go for a Power Whip. Power Whip might actually be enough to knock out Azumarill from this range already. I don't think so, actually, because I think Azumarill is a little bit too bulky for it, but let's take a look at it. Exactly, it's just barely not enough, but you can now catch the move. Great play here on the Ampharos, and the Hydro Pump actually is going to get to waste, but it doesn't really matter because he would have won anyway. Next opponent. We're going to have a Golbat in the lead. Again, like, you have so many flying type Pokemon in the lead right now, which of course is great for Ampharos, but is going to make it a little bit easier to do those battles. We're going to see the Poison Fang coming through as well. We're going to get the Brutal Swing damage. Oh no, actually going to go for the full farm and just use a shield, which I kind of do agree with. I think that's a decent play as well, because now you have all the energy in the world. And the opponent swaps into a Whiscash and now has the Azumarill in the back, and basically at this point already, we know that this game is over, because we have a Ferrothorn in the back, which is going to be super effective against both of them. We're still going to have the Trailblaze variant of the Ampharos with a ton of energy, and so basically this game is over at this point already. You can go for some Body Slam spam, just keep your shield alive, and you're gonna be totally fine. You most likely would be even able to farm them down with Bullet Seeds after like one more Body Slam here, which might be the play that you want to go for as well. But let's take a look at this. We're gonna see the Body Slam connecting. The opponent should still be able to get to move here, exactly, knock you out. And now we can go into your Ferrothorn, go for the full farm down with the Bullet Seed, and you go... Oh, actually, never mind. You're gonna go into the Ampharos. I do not agree with this play, because basically you risk that you're gonna get farmed down by Mudshot here, by like just one Mudshot. But at the end of the day, it does not really matter, because you're still gonna get to both moves here. But it's a little bit more risky in my opinion, because yeah, Ferrothorn with a little bit more energy would have been also kind of nice. It does not really matter at all, because you can... Oh, this is actually very risky. If they would have Blizzard here, and if they would be a little bit spicy, you might go down, but it does not really matter at this point, because you can just go ahead and go for the Power Whip and easily knock them out. But again, a lot of very favorable matchups for you. Venusaur is a little bit of a worse matchup for you. Kind of would like to swap out here, in my opinion. I would swap out immediately into your Vigoroth here, in my opinion, because they're just going to be able to outspeed them barely with the Body Slam, which might be a little bit better for you. Going to be a little bit more neutral as well. Here, you're going to use the shield against the Frenzy Plant. You're still going to get them low. Volt Switch actually kind of adds up, and honestly, Ampharos is putting in a lot of work. Here, you definitely would like to swap out sooner into the Vigoroth, doing super effective damage with your fast move, and they're actually going to get the knockout because they're running Dark Pulse over Foul Play. I think you would have been able to survive the Foul Play, which is kind of funny that they went for Dark Pulse then, but here you're going to have a better matchup there, but I guess like it's kind of deserved that you got punished for not going into the Vigoroth there. As we see, the Body Slam is connecting here. You're still going to be able to do some decent damage, but I feel like, yeah, this should actually take the knockout here, but maybe they want to use a shield to connect another Dark Pulse. Let's see. They actually do want to do this, and I would just let this move go through as well. Maybe even swap into Ferrothorn and try to farm him down. But yeah, they're going to have another Whiscash in the back, which is actually the cool thing about Ferrothorn. Unlike basically the poison type Pokemon that I showcased yesterday on my channel, the Ferrothorn has a great typing for the current meta, definitely has a lot of play in the current meta, because it can break the Whiscash as well as the Skarmory, and here we will see another Power Whip connecting against the opponent. This should get the knockout against them if they let this move go through. They don't, but you can still go for another Power Whip. This is still going to be a very close matchup though, so let's see if you can still win this game. We will see the Umbreon is coming back in. You can go for the full farm now. I would just go for a shield here and farm them down, right? Exactly. And you should be hopefully fine as the opponent is going to swap out into the Venusaur. The Thunder is coming through, is going to be single resisted, gonna easily get the knockout now, and you will be actually able to win this game with the Ferrothorn. Good game there. But yeah, I gave you some advice for some plays as well. Hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.